So guys, how many of you are fans of the original Tom Ford Black Orchid in the Eau De Parfum concentration? And have you been anticipating the Parfum edition, this one right here? Well, I think you have been, because I probably received like 4 or 5 messages asking me if I'm going to review this. And here it is. I've had it for about 3 days, maybe 4 days actually, come to think of it. I ordered it as soon as it hit Tom Ford's website. But now it says you have to go to a retailer to buy it. It's not even there anymore. I have no idea why. But I'm going to tell you all about Tom Ford Black Orchid Parfum 2020 release. So if you're curious to find out about it, please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian with Smelling Great Fragrance Reviews. That's right, today we're talking about Tom Ford's Black Orchid. Not the Eau De Parfum version, the Parfum version that just came out. But I wanted to highlight this one because this one's been around since 2006. And I feel like it's a very, very popular fragrance. I thought originally it was a women's targeted fragrance, but later it became women and men. Do you guys know if that's true? But for some reason I thought that it used to say on the databases that this is ladies targeted. Now it is unisex. Definitely is a unisex scent, and the Parfum is out. And it's a plummy, boozed up version of the original. But is it the most potent version? Because on Tom Ford website it says the most potent version of Tom Ford's Black Orchid ever. Anyway, I'm going to tell you all about Tom Ford Black Orchid Parfum. But before we do that, if this is your first time tuning in to my channel and you still haven't subscribed, please click the subscribe button below and also click the bell so you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. Yes, this is out. It's out. It's here. And I'm going to tell you all about it. Those of you who have been asking me, I'm enjoying it. It's really, really delicious. I love the plumminess. It is really, really amped up plum note and also amped up rum note. It's actually really great smell. It is actually quite similar to the other original Eau De Parfum, but you know, just liking the fact that there are really amped up plummy notes or plum touches, and also the boozy touches, and the whole experience is very, very ambery in this one, whereas this one I felt like it had the ambery touches, but there are drier elements here compared to this one. So this one's more syrupy. So this is the 2020 launch. It's considered an Oriental floral, or maybe Oriental as it is, but maybe I could go to the extent and call it Oriental fruity floral because it's quite fruity. The perfumer is not mentioned, but the original perfumer is David Apel. And the original was launched in 2006, so this is 14 years later. A 100 ml bottle is $195 compared to $180 for this suggested retail, but you can get this at discounters. For some reason I've noticed that Tom Ford fragrances are not really discounted too much, so if you find it at discounters you can get this probably anywhere around $120. I guess you can get close to $100, but I've never really found these really under 100. Never have, not too much, but they're really close price wise, only $15 more for this compared to this, and you get the Parfum edition, the concentrated edition of this one, and that's actually a great deal. You don't have to spend too much more to get like this more exclusive or more intense edition of a very popular fragrance. But as I'm saying, this is available at discounters, so it is cheaper if you find it at discounters. But if you go to a place like department store like Neiman Marcus, where they don't usually discount, it's only $15 more than the original, if that makes sense to you guys. So this is Parfum edition, the most highest concentrated form of perfume you can get. It comes in a spray form, and the gold bottle is new compared to the black bottle in the original. And I kind of like the black bottle for this because Black Orchid, you know, it's a black bottle. Here it's Black Orchid Parfum. It's a gold bottle. They're making it kind of like a more exclusive take on the original, but I kind of prefer the black bottle, if that makes sense. It's not as smudgy as this one. Well, it is smudgy, but this one you can see the smudge is a lot more than this one. So there have been a few other editions of Black Orchid launched before this, after the original. In 2015 they launched an Eau de Toilette. I'm not sure what happened to it, but I felt like I didn't really need an eau de toilette of this one because it was fine as it is. In 2008, they had also launched a Black Orchid Voile de Fleur, which I never got to sample. I don't recall. So those are the versions. There's actually an exclusive Lalique bottle version of this as well, which I don't know either. But this is the latest and greatest edition. For notes, what we have at the top are black truffles and black plum. In the heart, you have black orchid, Ylang-Ylang, and rum absolute. And finally, in the base notes, you've got patchouli. So in the original, dark chocolate had appeared, and you know, I never really considered this as a chocolate fragrance. It never really smelled like chocolate to me. It always smelled like truffles with chocolate. So I didn't really consider it a chocolate fragrance, even though it's chocolatey. I don't know if that makes sense. I still get that chocolatiness here, but it's more about the plums here today with the truffles. And if you're a fan of truffles, the kind you get in the under the ground, I'm a huge fan. I love anything mushroomy and truffly. I adore that smell and taste. This doesn't smell like that to me. I think what they've done is, both of them, it doesn't smell like truffles that you get from the ground. Like if you're cooking with that stuff, it doesn't smell like this at all. I think the only thing you get from that truffles in both fragrances is the earthiness. The earthiness is definitely prominent here. It exists, and it's a very, very earthy experience. I like that about this one because it makes it unique and it makes it savory. Does that make sense to you guys? So it's a sweet and savory experience. I'm having kind of a deja vu because I think I've had a sweet and savory experience fragrance a couple times this week. I don't even remember which fragrance it was now. But this is a sweet and savory experience because there's some savory touches here along with sweet touches. So for me, the sweetness comes from the black plum, or the whole black plum experience with that rum absolute experience here. Now, those of you that love boozy fragrances, if you've liked this one, you're probably going to really appreciate this one because the booziness is very, very amped up. In fact, I feel like you're having a plum liqueur when you're smelling this one because it is so plummy. And the kind of plums I experience here are more like the prune plums rather than the round plums. It's a darker experience, kind of like more of a deeper, richer plummy experience rather than the round stuff. So the other thing I'm also getting here is also the plums are maybe on the dried side and maybe almost like a plum compote. So they've been dried up and then they add some sweet liquids in there, and then they kind of like let the plums kind of like get back to soften up because they've been dried up. And that's the kind of experience I'm getting with this one because that adds a unique twist to it. So it is on the dried fruity side rather than the fresh fruity side of plums, but again, as I said, it feels like it's been macerated in that some kind of a sweeter liquid so that it kind of like opens up from being dry soft. That's my experience. I don't know, you might experience it completely different, but that's the plummy experience I'm getting with this. And it's not a bad thing. It's gourmandy. I like the fact that it's a sweet and savory experience where, you know, savory means it's dinner, not sweets and dessert, and then sweets means dessert and not dinner. That's the kind of experience this fragrance is, and that's what I get from the earthiness of the truffles. But you know what? I want to kind of stress the fact that, is this one really necessary? I mean, I'm appreciating the smell, I'm appreciating the intensity, but when they say the most potent version on Tom Ford website, you're not getting like major beast mode in comparison to the original. I don't get that. I feel like it is definitely stronger than the original, but is it really stronger than the original? It's not that strong in comparison to the original. So don't think that when you're going to get this, you're going to get beast mode. It's not. Although it is strong, it's just not beast mode strong. And you know, we don't really need beast mode strong, do we? I mean, I appreciate it, but I think they've given us the finest form of this fragrance that they can give us because I'm appreciating it. I like the whole ambery experience. I like the whole syrupy experience. I like the whole sweet and savory experience where I am getting savory plus gourmand touches, but we're not really getting like the most potent. I think they could have done a little more work to give us something more beast mode, but what they've given us, I'm saying, is it is in its finest form. So I do appreciate it. It does last longer than the original. It does act sweet, not sweeter, but it does act syrupier and amberier than the original, because with this one I get drier elements in comparison to this one, where this one comes off very syrupy experience, ambery experience, but it's not beast mode. But I'm appreciating it. I love it. I love the way it smells, and I'm enjoying it. Plums are kind of making a comeback, perhaps. I'm not sure. Tom Ford has done plums quite frequently, and I have seen plums come up in a few other fragrances, and I'm hoping it's going to be staying here, because I want to explore this note a little further. There's not a lot of fragrances that feature plums as a major player, and it does definitely appear here quite a bit, like you really do experience it. One more thing I want to say about this fragrance, and then I'll wrap it up. It is considered an Oriental floral, and I think the floral touches are coming from Ylang-Ylang. Ylang-Ylang has been appearing quite a bit in fragrances recently, and I feel like it's become the trendy flower to feature. If I'm thinking plums are the trendy note, definitely Ylang-Ylang has been pretty trendy for the last 6-7 months. I feel like it's appearing quite frequently, often, and it's definitely prominent here, and it appears, you know, very, very prominently. It's probably one of the more prominent notes here, if not the most prominent note. Although, you know what, I have to take that back. I think what I'm experiencing mostly is the earthiness from the black truffles, the fruitiness from the plums, the booziness from the rum, and then the Ylang-Ylang comes in. Now, the only thing I don't get too much of, and I don't even know if there are fragrant orchids, except for vanilla, obviously. So they say that there's black orchid in here. I don't really pick up an orchidy touch. Even though I call this an Oriental floral because of the Ylang-Ylang, I'm not calling it an Oriental floral because of the black orchid. Anyway, those are my thoughts on this one. You have to decide if you think it's worth getting a bottle. If you're walking into a Neiman Marcus or a Saks Fifth Avenue or Bloomingdale's or wherever they sell Tom Ford fragrances, and these are side by side, $15 more than this one, might as well get this one. But if you're deciding on what to get online and you have found the deal for this one and it's $100, I don't know if this is if this one's that worth it, especially if you're on a budget. I'm just going to be upfront about that. But what I'm appreciating here is that whole ambery experience with the earthiness of the truffles, the fruitiness of the plums, and the booziness of the rum. It's a great scent. I love it, and I'm glad they have it. Just the fact that be warned, it's not that beast mode or most potent version that they say it is. I mean, it is potent compared to this, but it's not like, oh my god, this is the most potent fragrance I've ever put my nose on. Does that make sense to you guys? Anyway, those are my thoughts on Black Orchid Parfum from Tom Ford. Have you guys tried it yet? Do you like this idea of this fragrance, the Parfum version of a very popular designer fragrance from Tom Ford? Have you been anticipated? And or if you have it and you've worn it, what do you know about it? Do you like it? And if you've compared the two, do you still want this one, or are you sticking with the original? Do let me know. Put a comment down so that I can find out. Other than that, guys, thanks so much for watching today. If you have any questions or comments, please do list below. Please do like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.